Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Crimsonpanda here with another patch note video. Now this is patch notes 24.0. This is the latest patch notes which is going to be released today. So let's have a look. We have a lot to cover, so we're going to be doing what we usually do and cover just the mercenary aspect of these patch notes. And there's a lot to cover, so let's jump straight into it. So the patch notes is launching tomorrow, which is actually today. Set stage for the newest Hearthstone expansion, Murder at Castle Nathria, launches on August 2nd. This patch note also includes updates to Battlegrounds, Mercenary Duels, Arena, as well as bug fixes and more. So we're going to focus just on the Mercenaries, so we're going to skip past this. And here we are, so Mercenary update. So first thing to note is we have a new limited time event, and that is C'Thun. So C'Thun we're going to be getting on the 16th of August. So the patch notes launched today. And we are going to just get a load of updates to a lot of mercenaries. I think 32 mercenaries are getting buffed. Some completely reworked and others just stat boosts, but we'll go through all of them in a little while. So we're getting C'Thun on the 16th, which is going to consist of 10 special tasks, still centered around C'Thun. And we're still going to get 2 event tasks, which is going to be unlocked for 2 every day for the first 5 days of the event. Going to have until September 6th to complete all 10 tasks, and completing all 10 tasks will give us the C'Thun Mercenary, a random golden portrait, a C'Thun portrait, the diamond C'Thun portrait, 700 coins, and we're going to need dragons and protectors in order to do this C'Thun bounty event, whatever you want to call it. So with that being said, let's take a look at C'Thun itself. So C'Thun is going to be a legendary fighter, which is really cool. We kind of expected it was going to be a fighter. We've already had 2 casters and a protector, so definitely needed the fighter amongst that as well. Skins are looking pretty cool. The diamond one, very awesome, and the little baby one is cool as well. So we have max stats is 1085. And let's take a look at the abilities. So the first ability here is Mind Fray, which is Shadow, which is kind of scary. Speed 7, deal this Merc's attack damage to an enemy. Death Blow, summon a 5/15 tentacle of C'Thun. So Death Blow is going to be quite hard, and it's dealing this attack to an enemy. So it's going to be 10 straight away, unless there's other means of scaling it up, which I'm sure there will be. And then ability number 2 is Tentacle of C'Thun. So it's an old god, the actual tentacle itself. Speed 5, 5 attack, 15 health, rush. Whenever this attacks, give C'Thun plus health and refresh your old god abilities by 1. So this is actually going to buff C'Thun straight away. So the Mind Flare is going to obviously do more damage. This is off cooldown, so you can do this straight away as well, which is probably what you're going to want to do. It's going to be very similar to a N'Zoth type mercenary, this one, by the looks of it. And then we have the Mask of C'Thun, which is Shadow again, speed 4. Savulgian is going to put this down very, very quickly. Deal this Merc's attack damage to all enemies, and Death Blow, restore 20 health to friendly old gods. So that's kind of going on a old god type comp. And restoring 20 health, that is actually a lot. So that is... that's very interesting. Dealing this attack to all enemies as well. Huge AoE on a cooldown 10. So we've seen how these cooldowns can literally be played on turn 2. So if we can scale this C'Thun and then turn 2 AoE, kind of like N'Zoth, but not sacrificing your minions, that could be very interesting. And then the equipments, we got the Heart of C'Thun, which is Battlecry, summon a 5/15 tentacle of C'Thun. It gains taunt but loses rush. So that's nice to prevent those Valeras. So Valera's still going to be in the game quite a lot, which I'm imagining she will be. This is going to prevent it going for some of your old gods, so that's very good. Obviously a taunt as well to stop anything else going through. Plus, if this gets an attack in, I imagine it'd be 5 speed. Yeah, it's 5 speed here, so it'd be 5 speed here. And then that's obviously going to buff C'Thun as well, I would have thought, because that'd just probably be the tentacles thing, perhaps. And we have the Maw of C'Thun. Battlecry, gain 4 attack, destroy a random enemy minion. So if you're going up against a summon heavy comp when they have Battlecry minion summons like this, I imagine a lot of people are going to use C'Thun. So if they end up using this one, which gets popular, then you can use this to counter that, I guess. Gain the extra 4 attack straight away. and destroy their minion, which could be quite nice. And then we have Body of C'Thun 4, which is bench, gain +5/+10 after you summon an old god. So this works when it's on the bench. So I mean, we could kind of run Maestra, get an attack off, still get this battle cry off, giving it 4 attack and destroying a random minion. Get an attack off with this, so this doesn't attack and this doesn't attack, so maybe you can't get the attack off. But these summons are old gods. So this one here, the Tentacle of C'Thun, is actually an old god. The N'Zoth summon is an old god, so this could actually scale up pretty quickly with this guy on the bench. If you just open up with your 3 other old gods and then this comes out, this could be quite scary. Very big. 10 cooldown goes down to 0. AoE, healing some of your other old gods up. It could be quite spicy. We'll have to definitely keep an eye on C'Thun. I reckon it's going to be a solid merc for sure. Next up, we have Sir Finley, Epic Protector. This is the free mercenary we get on the reward track on the 2nd of August, which is exactly 1 week today. It is obviously a Murloc, and it's 1178. But if you notice here on the picture, it actually says 1183. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, see which one it actually is going to be when it's maxed. Obviously, that 5 health is going to be really important, especially on a protector that needs high health. And then the abilities, so let's take a look at these. So we've got Adventure Weight 5, which is a nature, speed 6, gain 8 health and attack an enemy. If your opponent has fewer characters, gain Divine Shield first. So the idea behind this to gain a Divine Shield is to have some Murloc summons, I guess. So if they have fewer enemies when this goes off at speed 6, is there a Murloc summon off the top of my head that could summon off speed 6? Yes, there is 4 speed summon Murlocs, and there's also 5 speed summon Murlocs. So this should be fairly easy to get the Divine Shield as well, which could be pretty cool. And then we got Murlocology. Is speed 2, cooldown 1, so a very fast ability. Discover a adapted Murloc ability. Dev comment: this is a pool of abilities from all existing Mercs when Finley is released. So that tells me there may be more Murlocs coming. All existing Mercs when Finley is released. There won't be any more between now and Finley, so okay. So this is just going to discover one of their abilities. Does it activate straight away? I'm not sure. We'll have to play test that. And then lead the charge, Holy, which is very interesting. So we've got a nature and a Holy here. Speed 3, cooldown 1. Give a friendly character 12 attack and Divine Shield, and give your Murlocs +5 attack. So this could kind of go in anything, couldn't it? It could give 3 speed, give someone 12 attack. Very, very versatile. And then, and the Divine Shield. And then it also gives you Murlocs +5 attack if you're playing a Murloc comp as well, which is cool. Equipment, we have Maxwell's Might, Steed. And we got your Murlocs have +10 health. Your Explorers have +6 attack. Okay, so leaning towards the Explorer Murloc comp. Exploring Monologue is passive. Lead the Charge also gives Explorers attack. So lead the Charge is give friendly character 12 attack, and it gives Explorers attack. So where it gives the Murlocs attack, it's going to give Explorers attack. Oh, I see, yeah, okay. Meh. Kind of weak, but obviously an additional buff to depending on the comp you're using. So then we got Finley's Helmet, passive. After a friendly character loses Divine Shield, deal 10 damage to a random enemy. Okay. It's going along the Divine Shield type comp, which unfortunately we haven't seen much success with over the duration of Mercenaries, to be honest. A few Divine Shields do protect from the AoEs, but I can't see it being this working too much. Okay, and then this is just saying about how C'Thun and Finley will be in the packs after the event. So that's all good. Now available through normal means. So Yogg and Tyrell are now going to be in packs because of the Yogg event has ended. So that's cool. And now the big stuff. So we have Merc updates. So this there is a lot. There's 32 to cover, so we'll try and skim through these as quickly as we can. Okay, and to start things off, we have Bran. So Bran's Summit Campfire, it used to read gain 4 frost resistance, so character deals crit damage to an enemy whom it has already acted. And his new is going to be gaining 5 resistance this turn. Enemies who have already acted take crit damage. So, and the dev comment here says, in addition to being reworded and giving +1 more frost resistance, Summit Campfire has had some bug addressed that previously its full effect was a full effect from working. Now when the effect triggers, enemies who have already acted will take crit damage, and any enemies who act after this effect going will take crit damage from the rest of the turn. If Bran dies, all enemies impacted will stay impacted, but no additional enemies will be affected. So this is just kind of all enemies take crit damage this turn. That's kind of how that reads to me, which is kind of crazy. I can't remember the speed on that ability, but yeah, making everything have crit damage is kind of scary. And then we have Extra Spirits passive. If you have them in play, Elise and Reno gain +5/+12. Is going to be now passive. Your Explorers have +5/+12. So that's a big upgrade equipment, because it's an Explorer itself. So this is going to buff all of the Explorers now, including our new Murloc, C'Thun, which I imagine he's still going to be technically an Explorer. We got Elise next, and Elise is going from, if you have Bran and Reno in play, give them 4/4 to give all your Explorers 4/4 at the end of each turn. So once again, we get more Explorers, so it's changing up to adapt to that. I imagine Reno is the same. Battlecry, if you have at least 2 Explorers, restore 100 health to friendly characters, is now going to be Battlecry if you control 2 other Explorers, restore 100 health to your characters. Okay. So it's not at least 2, it's just 2 others. So that's like a full comp type thing. And then Death Rail casts 2 random abilities, now going to be cast a random one of Reno's looted powers twice. So you're just going to do something twice instead of 2 separate random abilities. Okay. We have to see how much of an impact that has on Reno. Ratharan getting a big buff. So we've got his old stats and his new stats there. So 1279 is now going to be 1284, so it gains +5. Creeping Madness is now a 4 speed. And Tail Swipe is going to be dealing 20 damage to a random left or rightmost enemy. Is now going to be 15 damage to an enemy and 5 to all enemies to the left or right of it. So this is just a AoE for 5 and a 15 to your targeted merc, basically. Drakthar is going from, oh my god, that's a lot of health. It's going from a 1073 to a 1081, so gaining 8 health there, which is pretty big. And the Spirit Guide, Battlecry, if you have Shamanism, gain Divine Shield and Rush, is now going to be a 0 cooldown and a Taunt, or gain Taunt. So Drakthar is going to gain Taunt, and then Battlecry, if you have Shamanism, gain Divine Shield and Rush. So you're already going to gain Taunt, but then you could get Divine Shield and Rush if you have Shamanism. Okay, big update for Brightwing here. This is all of Brightwing's update. It's going to be completely reworked. So dev comment, Brightwing's fantasy of swapping between bench and battlefield struggle because of randomness. We've decided to strengthen the kit overall to reduce the randomness in it, so players could direct her effects and choose what they want to swap with. So the old stats was 777, is now going to be 888. And the Fiery Breath used to deal 10 damage, give a random merc on your bench 3/5. It's now going to deal 12 damage, so 2 extra damage, and give the lowest health merc on your bench 310. So an extra buff, and you can kind of put the lowest thing on your bench. Knowing what you're going to be buffing with that as well is kind of really good. And then Phase Shift was restore 25 health to this merc and swap it with the highest health on your bench. Is now going to be restore 25 health to this merc. If you control another merc, return this to your bench, which means you're going to be able to bring out anything you want from your bench once this returns. So that is very strong. Cooldown is now 1 for all levels of this ability. So you do have a cooldown, so which isn't going to matter because it's going to be on the bench. By the time it comes out, that cooldown will be available again. And then Brightwing's Ring, which is Phase Shift restores 24 more health, is now going to be bench. After a Merc dies, summon this and cast Fiery Breath 5 at a random enemy immediately. So that's a random enemy straight away. Fiery Breath 5 is going to deal 12 damage and buff something on your bench. So this is very much a patches type thing. So after a Merc dies, jumping in, saving the day kind of thing. And then the necklace, Fiery Breath gives an additional 5 health, is now going to be Battle Cry. Give your lowest health Merc on your bench 15 health. So that is the second they come down. So you can give your lowest health 15 health. That's going to push him past your original lowest health, so that this will end up buffing something completely different and giving it the extra health and attack. So Brightwing is going to be a very fun Merc to try out. I can't wait to put that in a comp later on today and see how much of an impact that has on possibly like a bench type comp. So we'll take a look at that. Lady Anaconda also having a big rework. So the dev's comment here is Lady Anaconda always felt like a Merc that needed her equipment just to get her abilities to baseline level. So we baked 2 of the equipment effects into her abilities and updated those equipments with new Viper summoning effects so that the more players can experience that part of her kit. So her stats, first of all, has gone from an 876 to a 984. So that's a huge 8 health, 1 attack buff. Her Serpent Bite used to deal 6 at the end of the turn, deal 6. Is now just going to deal 12 at the end of the turn, take 12. It takes 12, so that's a massive double on power. Then we got Ment Beast, used to restore 15 health to a character if it's a beast, also give it 15 health. Is now going to be restore 15 health to a character. If it's a beast, also give it 15 health. Oh, and this Merc, sorry, I missed that bit. So it's going to be restore 15 health to a character and Lady Anaconda, and then if it's a beast, also. So that's the, this part here is where we were at with the equipment. So they've just chucked it into the actual ability. And then Toxic Venom used to be Serpent Bite, deals 4 more damage. It's now going to be after you cast 3 nature abilities, summon a 0/15 Viper. 3 left. So you can only do this 3 times. Casting 3 nature abilities is fairly easy. You can do that in 1 turn if you just queue up just nature mercenaries. And then Signal the Wild is Ment Beast restores health to Lady Anaconda as well. It's now, that was this one here. It's now changed to Battlecry, summon a 0/15 Nightmare Viper. Which also, obviously, because it's a beast, once you buff that Viper, it's going to gain the stats you buff it. So once it heals, it goes to 30 health and stuff like that. So that's going to be a very fun element to play. I mean, maybe even with the Brightwing, we could try that. Lady Anaconda looking pretty strong now. Next up we have Morgul the Oracle. So dev comment, Morgul always wanted to be the healer for the Murloc party, but unfortunately other characters provided more value. We redesigned his healing to give him more the tools that the Murloc healer has always wanted to be. So we have a little stat boost here, so an extra 1 attack and an extra, oh, this is a big stat boost. An extra 1 attack and 10 health here. Wow. Okay. So we've got Murloc missiles deal 10 damage, give your Murlocs 5 health. Is now deal 14, give your Murlocs 6 health. So that's a nice big buff there. Healing Wave was 1 cooldown, restore 15 health to a target that hasn't acted, restore 30 instead. Is now going to be 0 cooldown, so you can spam this. Restore 15 health to a character and 10 health to your Murlocs. So an AoE heal and a designated heal as well. Very strong. On 0 cooldown, so that's like, could be potentially plus 25 health every single turn with just this if you're running Murlocs. Nice. Healing Wave restores 10 more health, is now going to be passive. After one of your Murlocs takes 20 or more damage in a single hit, restore 8 health to it. So if they're going to try and kill someone off fast, we can heal. That's kind of a very unique effect. I like it. That's cool. Next up we have Guff Rune Totem. So the dev's comment is, Guff always relied on Bramblethorn Totem to keep Living Brambles damage up. We built that damage into Living Brambles to give him more equipment options, including a new option as a backline character with the Bramblethorn Totem rework. So he's had a stat increase. Well, this is really big. So it went from a 1080 to a 1291. So that's an extra 11 health to attack, which is massive. Living Brambles used to deal 10 nature combo repeat it. We obviously needed to give it +4 to get it to what its new stat line is, which is going to be 14 damage nature repeat it. So no longer needing the Living Brambles, which is this one here. Living Brambles deal 4 more, is now going to be Battle Cry, restore 20 health to your characters. Battle Cry, restore 20 health. So if you have this on the bench and it comes out, you can heal your party. So that's where they're going with the backline here. Very interesting. Garrosh Hellscream with his Mordecai. Makora, sorry, is old. Attack an enemy, it attacks them back. Is now going to be take 5 less damage this turn. Attack an enemy, attacks it back. So protecting yourself a little bit more instead of just actually getting punished because you just attacked into the Merc. And additional speed 5 at all levels. Lich King, we had a stat increase here. So that is an extra 1 attack and 4 health. And Frostbite is now speed 5. Cookie, so the old effect here was bleed 5 to all enemies, restore 5 health to Murlocs and Pirates. Now going to be bleed 10 to all enemies and restore 10 health to Murlocs and Pirates. So just doubled up the stats. And a dev comment here, Cookie was first playable Merc that we designed with the bleed effect. At this time, we thought it would be a good idea to allow bleed to scale with spell damage. We decided that bleed shouldn't be increased by spell damage buffs, so we have adjusted the base power level the ability to compensate for that change. So no longer is bleed scaling with spell damage. So we need to bear that in mind if you're going to try and go for a big bleed, especially with what's her face, Elise. So bear that in mind when you're playing. And then we got Zajara the Sea Witch, max stats going up again here. So we've got +1 attack and a +9 health, so a big stat increase here. And then the upstarts Acolyte is passive, +20 health. Whenever a friendly character is frozen, freeze a random enemy. Is now going to be passive +20 health. The first time a friendly character is frozen each turn, freeze a random enemy. So you can't spam freeze, I guess. I mean, I never use this ability that much myself, so I don't know how much of an impact this change is going to have, but hopefully it is for the best. They must have seen some sort of issue with it. And then Uther we have here. So the devs comment, Uther has always struggled to find his place in the holy team, focusing on Anduin and Belen. We think that is a flavorful change that we'd hope this change will bring more role diversity to the holy compositions. Uther is now designated to be the first protector to deal holy damage for justice. So used to be a caster, is now going to be a protector. So Uther will be red. So if you can't find him in your collection, he's in the protector tab. So don't forget that. His stat increases well. He gets 1 attack and an additional 9 health. And his Hammer of Justice, instead of dealing 12 and slowing him by 3, he now deals 15 and slows him by 3. So an extra 3 damage, which could be massive. So instead of that doing 24 crit damage, it's going to do 30. So very big crit damage buff there. And okay, so it looks like a lot of these now are just stats. So King Crush here has got a stat increase with just 3 health, not very big. But his Devil Sword is now a 0 cooldown, which could be crazy. You could just spam that. It's like the Nefarian is summoning a minion at 5 speed. Now Devil Sword is going to be one of King Crush's tools, which is cool. Curtis has got 3 health. Tavish has got 3 health, 1 attack. Lord Jaraxxus got 2 attack and 2 health. Manaroth got 2 attack and 6 health. Tamsin got 1 attack and 3 health. Warmaster Voon got 1 attack and 8 health. Rakara has got 3 health. Ragnaros has got 1 attack and 6 health. Antonidas has got 1 attack and 3 health. We have an interesting Vanessa. So let's see, Vanessa's got some rework. So we've got dev comment. Originally, the fantasy of Vanessa was that she'd steal a bunch of your attack and then have a big payoff with makeshift weaponry. In practice, however, spending all of your stolen attack was too high a cost. It also meant that makeshift weaponry was a dead ability on her first turn. We increased the base power, reworked the extra pocket synergies, and made the downside less punishing. So we increased the speed to 7 to compensate for these buffs. So the stat buff first is an additional 9 health. And makeshift weaponry was a speed 3, spend all stolen, deal that much to all enemies, is now a speed 7, so 4 speed slower, but it is deal 12 damage to all enemies and improved by stolen attack. So it's a 12 damage AoE no matter what at 7 speed, which seems fair, I guess. The fact that it can scale in her own way makes it justified with 7 speed. And then the extra pockets, after using makeshift weaponry, this mode keeps 10 attack, is now going to be battle cry, steal 4 attack from the enemy opposite this. So that's instantly a 16 damage AoE for 7, which makes that a lot better. So yeah, Vanessa with a little bit of a change there as well. Next up we have New Zhao, so he has just had health change, goes up by 7. Vandar stat change goes up by 3 health. Deathwing goes up by 2 attack and 4 health. Onyxia, a little bit of a change here. Stats here has gone up by 1 attack and 5 health. And the Broodmother Rage was passive. Whenever a friendly dragon is destroyed, still 7 damage to all enemies. Is now just going to be, when a dragon is destroyed, deal 7 fire damage to all enemies. So this is already dealing fire damage, so it's just a wording update to clarify its effect. Vash gains some extra stats. Gets 2 attack and 6 health. Captain Hooktusk gets 3 attack and 8 health. So that's very big for a mercenary that attacks. And then Trigor the Lasher. Okay, here we go. So Backlash, gain 5 attack. Each time an enemy damages an ally this turn, deal this much damage to them. That was what it used to be. And now it's going to be gain 5 attack. After an enemy damage as an adjacent ally this turn, deal this damage to that merc. So that's the same thing, apart from it's not, instead of it says each time, it's just after an enemy damages an adjacent ally. So it's still going to be the same. So dev comment, this is not a functional change to Trigor, it's just a wording update. We also fixed a bug so that Trigor no longer hits after Trigor is functionally dead. And no longer hits enemies who are functionally dead. Okay, so that's going to be huge. So if Trigor gets killed by an AoE, he's dead. He's not going to proc and deal damage. So that is going to be a big hit for Trigor, even though that's just a wording update and a little bit of an update there. Okay, Trigor is going to see less play because of that. And then last but not least, we have Murky. Murky is going from an 1179 to an 1180. A nice little 1 health for Murky. And then Marching Murlocs is gone from a 5 speed to a 4 speed, summoned by the March of the Murloc equipment. Okay, so that is it for all of our mercenary updates. Just to clarify when all of this is going to be coming. So we're going to be getting C'Thun on the 16th. And this patch notes goes live today. I'm not sure what time. It's usually around 6 PM my time, which is in 12 hours time. So keep an eye out on your clients. Obviously, Apple iPhone will take a little bit longer for this update to go live because of all the security checks. But other than that, keep an eye out on your updates, on your apps, on your computer client, and it should go live some point today. And by having that update, you'll be able to see your mercs in your collection would have changed to all of these updates in this patch note. So I hope you guys have liked this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out growing as a community and keeping this merc game alive. And I'll see you in the next video.